Welcome back, everybody. Let's talk a little bit about IGE allergies and mast cell activation syndrome. Now, I happen to have a lot of experience with this because I just so happen to have both. In the video, we'll be talking a little bit about the difference between IGE allergies and mast cell activation syndrome and the kind of the reactions with those. Now, I luckily I have experience with both. For the people watching, it's not so much good for myself because I don't enjoy either one of the reactions. But a lot of people don't know this that watches my videos and then I talk to. I was born with 13 different food allergies. I was born with peanut, nut, egg, shrimp, chocolate, wheat, barley, soy, several other allergies that I have. We all know somebody, they have a wheat allergy or they have a peanut allergy, or, we got an aunt, she's allergic to, grass, or we have a brother that's allergic to, or a sister that's allergic to, a certain kind of laundry detergent or whatever. And basically how I like to think about mast cell activation syndrome is I like to think about it as like an extreme case of it. It's not just one thing, two things, three things. You're allergic to basically everything. You can have a reaction at any time to any given thing. It's still not fully understood why multiple chemical sensitivity and mast cell activation syndrome exist. It really doesn't make a lot of sense, from a logical standpoint, because if you think about, early mankind, they lived in caves, they had a lot of mold, they lived outside, so you had natural mold, you had natural grasses, so it seems like something has altered people's immune systems, whether it's, vaccinations or, foods or food additives. That's something that we don't know. But anyway, back to myself a little bit. I was born with 13 food allergies. I was born with severe dust allergies. My IgE was like 26 something. It was off the chart. My IgE allergy was almost as high as my peanut allergy. I almost lost my life 3 times to peanut nut reactions. One time my grandmother, she fed me a Reese cup. This is before I think my parents knew that I'd had peanut allergies and all that stuff. So they had to give me epinephrine or EpiPen, which is pretty serious. That's something that paramedics carry. When a person's dead on arrival, they'll give them 2 or 3 EpiPens to kind of hopefully restart their heart. I had an ENT worker or EMS worker tell me that was one of the things that they use to try to bring people back to life. So it's a shot of adrenaline. That's basically what epinephrine is. But a little bit back in the video, so I was born with the severe food allergies, and I was also born with the severe, I was allergic to pretty much all the grasses. I was lightly allergic to molds. I was also born with allergies to mouse urine. I know that's odd. I don't know why they test people for that. Rat droppings. I had high IgE to that. Trees, grasses. So I was born already with a lot of IgE allergies. So I dealt with IgE allergies for the better part of 24 years, 24 and a half years. I was a big fan of Teddy Roosevelt in school. I'd heard that he had cured his asthma with intense exercise, so exercise was always my, it was my outlet. I rode a bike, at work, I put in overtime. I like lifting weights, even though that, I was by no means a power lifter or anything like that. I like working out, I like walking, I like, at work, it was not unusual, to put in 5, 6, 7 miles a day walking. So I was always very active, even as a child, teenage years, and then my working life I was active. Probably the laziest that I ever was when I was in college. I done a lot of sitting there. With intense exercise, I'd got away from, like 5 years, I didn't hardly take an allergy pill. I didn't touch an allergy pill. And IGE Allergies is well controlled with antihistamines. Like, my reactions was, I couldn't eat peanuts, or I couldn't eat nuts. I couldn't eat out. Just a few places I could eat. Maybe like a Wendy's French fry or Hardee's hash brown. There's very few places that I could eat out. So that's a pretty common thing. It's pretty easy to work around that, pack your own lunch. So my life at the time I thought was hard, but it was actually pretty easy compared to what I'm going through now with the mast cell activation syndrome. But IgE allergies is measurable with a blood test or with a stick test. I'm actually so reactive that they have to do a blood test on me, but I've had that my whole life. It was a matter of taking Benadryl or Claritin or hitting an inhaler. I used to cut pine limbs with these severe allergies. So, I consider myself, as I always was sick, with these conditions, but as a child, I had, unusual things. One time when I was deer hunting, I shot several deer, and I just touched the deer's antlers. It was pouring down rain one day, and my finger just swelled up huge. And I don't know if I've always had mast cell activation syndrome and I didn't know it, but I have read studies that mast cell activation syndrome is linked with people that has like pre-existing high IgE allergies or food allergies. So it means that they're already prone to their chemical load filling up, or their chemical load, or their immune system being overwhelmed to start out with. So it's easier for that person to develop this condition due to that. But with an IgE allergy, it's measurable in blood, and it's measurable with a stick test, etc., etc. The reason mast cell activation syndrome is so hard to diagnose and nail down is they call the reactions with mast cell activation syndrome sensitivities. They don't call them IgE allergies. So for a long time, scientists or medical professions and people that studied this, they didn't understand it because it was not really a way to measure the reaction. So they called it a sensitivity. They didn't call it an allergy, even though people that has mast cell activation syndrome, they can be around a chemical, or they can be around a substance, or they can be around a certain thing, and they have an allergic type reaction. They go into anaphylaxis, the same thing with IgE allergy or severe environmental allergy, etc., etc. What I noticed was different, and a lot of people don't have this same experience. But when I first got sick, 2019, when this had started in December, I noticed the antihistamines didn't touch it. I was used to, just taking, if I was around hay or whatever, I take Benadryl, I was good to go. I noticed when this started, it wasn't just a matter of taking a Benadryl or an allergy tablet. It was just so aggressive. At one time, my ENT had me taking 6 Singulars, and that's a pretty aggressive dose on top of hydroxyzine and Claritins and all the other stuff I was taking when this started. It wasn't touching it. It was not touching it. So mast cell activation syndrome it's very difficult to control. It's very difficult to manage. I wish that I had better advice, because I'm 2 years into this, and it's not been comfortable. There's not really a day that goes by that I can say that I'm comfortable, and it's no really outlet for us. When I had an allergic reaction before, it was a matter of taking Benadryl and getting sleepy, laying on the couch, and a few hours later being fine. But when your reactions are so bad that it's eating the lining out of your stomach, and it's destroying your lungs, or it's causing chronic inflammation in your lungs. It's just a whole new ball game. It's a whole, it's just a whole different. It works off a whole different mechanism. And the mast cell stabilizers they have, some people see a lot of great results. I have not. I've used chrome sodium. I've used the one that started with the Q. I have it in the car. I don't know how to pronounce it. I see, some benefit. I can go in a grocery store. I can go shop. I can be around things momentarily, but I can't be around it long term. It's not a cure. It's just management. I call it disease management. But the reason why, the medical community had such a problem recognizing it, and they still do, is, a mast cell reaction is, it's so much harder to catch, and it's so much harder to measure versus a IGE allergy. So some people that has mast cell activation syndrome, they never had IGE allergy in their life. Some people that has severe IgE allergies and they get mast cell activation syndrome, they know the clear difference. I know the clear difference. As far as the mechanisms of mast cell activation syndrome, the only thing that's been explained to me is your environmental load fills up and you become more sensitive. It's your body's way of, getting you out of that substance or getting you out of that thing that's irritating you. It could just be a hot bath. It could be anything that sets it off. I could get in my car. I could go down the road. I could go by somebody mowing a grassy field and go into anaphylaxis. That's something I don't know, but hopefully that clears up some things. That's a little bit of information between IgE allergies and mast cell activation syndrome, or the reactions associated with it. Hope that helps. I know it wasn't very explanatory, but kind of giving you a little bit about my background and what I've been through and the things kind of leading up. So God bless.